On October 16, 2025, as the neon haze of rock and roll history dimmed just a little brighter, the world lost a cosmic force whose guitar riffs ignited the night sky. Paul Daniel Ace Frehley, the spaceman of Kiss, the original lead guitarist whose wild solos and unyielding spirit fueled one of the biggest bands in the universe, passed away at the age of 74 in Morristown, New Jersey, after a tragic fall at his home that led to a devastating brain bleed. Just days ago, as fans packed venues for what were meant to be his triumphant 2025 tour dates, the news crashed like a pyrotechnic explosion gone wrong. Ace, the man who made smoking guitars and silver face paint synonymous with rebellion, had been on life support, his family making the agonizing decision to let him go when no miracle came. Born on April 27, 1951, in the gritty pulse of the Bronx, New York, Ace wasn't just a musician. He was a shooting star, a self-taught wizard whose fingers conjured chaos and wonder, selling millions of albums and inspiring generations to pick up a guitar and dream of the stars. Today, as tributes flood from Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons, who called him irreplaceable in their tearful joint statement, to Tom Morello, who hailed him as his first guitar hero, we rocket through the emotional cosmos of Ace's life. His cause of death, the family that both grounded and propelled him, his age a testament to a life lived at warp speed, the net worth forged from fire and fallout, the hard-living lifestyle that burned bright and sometimes too hot, and the biography of a rock and roll astronaut whose gravity-defying journey reminds us to chase our highs, even when the lows pull us under. This isn't a sterile setlist. It's a heartfelt power ballad to Ace, a man whose spaceman mask hit a heart as big as the galaxy, urging us to crank up the volume on the love we leave behind. From the shadowed tenements of the Bronx, where the roar of subway trains mingled with the dreams of a kid who saw the world as his launchpad, Ace's roots ran deep in a family that blended blue-collar grit with a spark of musical magic that would one day light up arenas worldwide. His father, Carl Frehley, an electrical engineer of Dutch descent whose steady hands wired the circuits of New York City's humming grid, was the quiet architect of Ace's resilience. Carl's workbench became young Paul's playground, tinkering with gadgets that foreshadowed the pyrotechnic guitars Ace would later unleash. His dad's unspoken pride a compass through the chaos of fame. Then there was his mother, Esther Hecht Frehley, a homemaker with German roots whose warm kitchen was the family's North Star, her folk songs and folk wisdom weaving a thread of tenderness into the tough Bronx tapestry. Esther's encouragement, slipping Ace his first electric guitar under the Christmas tree in 1964 in hopes it'd keep him out of trouble, ignited a fire that no amount of rebellion could extinguish. As the youngest of three, Ace grew up in the shadow of his older brother Charles and sister Nancy, siblings whose playful rivalries and shared secrets forged his unbreakable bond with family. Charles, the steady sibling who shared his love for comics and sci-fi, fueling Ace's spaceman persona, while Nancy's fierce protectiveness became a lifeline during his darkest detours. Family life wasn't all harmony. The Frehleys scraped by in a working-class world, holidays a modest feast of laughter and longing, but it was a launch site for Ace's dreams. Weekends at Coney Island, where the cyclone screams mirrored his inner thrill, or backyard jams where he'd strum Beatles riffs until his fingers bled. This foundation held when the spotlight scorched. In 1976, Ace married Jeanette Trerotola, an Italian-American actress whose fiery spirit matched his own. Their union a whirlwind of rock and roll romance that birthed daughter Monique on July 6, 1980. A wide-eyed girl who became his earthly anchor, her tiny hands on his guitar strings during quiet moments a reminder of what mattered beyond the makeup. Monique, now 45 and a musician in her own right, shared her dad's rebellious streak, tattooing a matching spaceman emblem with him in 2023. Their bond a defiant duet through his solo years. The marriage ended in divorce in the 90s amid the band's excesses, but Jeanette remained a co-parent of love, their co-custody a testament to shared stardust. Ace's family expanded in echoes, grandchildren who called him Papa Ace, clamoring for tales of exploding amps, and a network of aunts, uncles, and cousins who gathered for barbecues in his later years. The Bronx spirit alive in Jersey backyards, even as addiction and alienation tested ties. Ace's memoirs confessing rifts mended over time. The Frehleys rallied, Esther's final days in the 90s a vigil of forgiveness, Carl's passing a call to live louder. Now, with Monique at his bedside in those final hours, Jeanette's voice in the grief-stricken chorus, and siblings holding the family flag high, Ace's kin carries the flame. Their pain a raw rock opera, reminding us that family isn't the applause. It's the crew that straps in for the ride, no matter how bumpy the orbit. Ace Frehley's Biography blasts off like a supernova solo, a Bronx kid's odyssey from garage jams to global domination, scripting Kiss's cosmic conquest and a solo saga that proved the spaceman could shine alone. Born Paul Daniel Frehley in 1951, the youngest in a musical household where his dad's piano duets with mom sparked his ear, Ace was a natural, self-taught on guitar by 13, devouring Jimi Hendrix's Fire and Led Zeppelin's Thunder, his fingers a blur without a single lesson. High school at collegiate school dropped him like a bad chord. He ditched for gigs with bands like The Outrage and Malamo, earning his Ace nickname for his charm with the ladies, a moniker that stuck like glitter on grease paint. By 1973, Fate's riff called, answering a Village Voice ad from Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley, Ace auditioned in a getup of red leather and 7-inch heels, sealing his spot as Kiss's lead guitarist with a raw demo of his original Cold Gin. The band ignited that year. Peter Criss on drums, their personas born in a Greenwich Village loft. Ace as the spaceman, silver makeup streaked like shooting stars, his Les Paul rigged to belch smoke mid-solo, a sci-fi rebel who co-wrote anthems like Parasite and Shock Me. Kiss's debut album in '74 exploded, Destroyer in '76 their bombastic peak, Ace's New York Groove, a disco-rock hybrid hitting number 13. His voice a gravelly growl over pyros that singed stadium roofs. The '70s were glory. Love Gun in '77. The Creatures of the Night tour where Ace's antics, on-stage blackouts from booze and pills, became legend, the band selling 100 million records, their faces on everything from coffins to condoms. But cracks spiderwebbed. Ace's addictions, heroin, alcohol, a 1976 overdose that nearly flatlined him, clashed with Simmons' control, leading to his 1982 exit amid a haze of rehab and resentment. Solo stardom beckoned. His 1978 self-titled album birthed New York Groove. But Frehley's comet in '87 was his comet tail, rock and roll overcharting with Into the Night, tours that outshone Kiss's bombast. Reunions pulled him back. The 1996 Alive/World Without End spectacle, a $60 million haul, Ace donning the makeup for one last blast till 2002's Fallout. The 2010s were redemption riffs. Space Invader in 2014, Origins Volume 1 covering his heroes, his 2011 memoir No Regrets bearing the soul behind the mask, Addiction's Abyss, a 2006 arson conviction, yet a spirit unbroken. Rock Hall induction in 2014, a Kennedy Center nod in 2025. Ace's arc at 74 was a hard rock haiku of highs and crashes, 18 solo albums, endless encores, proving the spaceman's orbit was eternal. His riffs a beacon for every kid with a guitar and a grudge against gravity. Offstage, Ace's lifestyle was a high-wire act of hedonism and hard-won harmony, a rocket-fueled ride from Bronx bashes to Jersey serenity, where the thrill of the riff tangled with the wreckage of excess in a life that roared louder than any amp. Picture him in the '70s peak. Kiss's Destroyer tour buses a rolling circus of Jack Daniels and groupies, Ace's silver platform boots stomping hotel suites into splinters, his smoking guitar not the only thing belching fire, cocaine lines snaked across, mirrors, heroin haze blurring the line between encore and emergency, a 1977 car wreck that totaled his Cadillac but spared his spark. He lived the rock cliché. Mansions in Westport, Connecticut, with pet peacocks strutting amid gold records, parties where Simmons' blood-spitting met Ace's blackout toasts, the spaceman's mask melting into midnight madness. But the '80s crash-landed, divorcing Jeanette amid custody wars, a 1984 overdose that stopped his heart for 2 minutes, rehab stints that stripped the glamour, leaving him couch-surfing in the Bronx, hawking guitars for gas money. Frehley's comic gigs were his rebound, tour buses stocked with soda over spirits, Ace trading leather for flannel, his stage antics tamed but his solos savage, crowds chanting Ace, Ace. Like a lifeline, sobriety bloomed in the 2000s. AA meetings in Jersey basements, a modest Morristown home with a home studio where he'd tinker till dawn, crafting riffs over black coffee and Monique's visits, her laughter the best high. Lifestyle shifted to grounded groove. Mornings hiking Appalachian trails, his lanky frame, 6 feet 2 inches of wiry energy. Chasing clarity, afternoons lost in sci-fi novels like Heinlein's Stranger in a Strange Land, evenings grilling steaks with old bandmates, reminiscing over rare Les Pauls. He shunned the spotlight sleaze, no entourages, just a beat-up Chevy for casino runs in Atlantic City, where he'd blow tour cash on slots, a gambler's thrill echoing his stage risks. Philanthropy peeked through, donating guitars to music programs, his 2014 Rock Hall speech a nod to underdogs. Later years softened. Vegan experiments gone awry, a love for classic cars, restoring a '57 Corvette like his soul, family barbecues where grandchildren begged for spaceman tales. Ace's gravelly chuckle cutting the quiet. It was a life of orbits eccentric, addiction's black holes, redemption's supernovas, reminding us that even astronauts crash, but the stars they leave burn on. Ace's financial trail, a comet's tale of triumphs and tailspins, tallied a net worth of about $1 million at his passing. A humble haul for a rock titan whose licks launched empires, yet a fortune forged from fallout and fierce independence. Kiss's glory geysered gold. 100 million albums sold. Ace's co-writes on Cold Gin and Parasite netting royalties that trickled like steady rain. The 1996 reunion tour alone pocketing him $30 million. Solo strikes added fuel. His 1978 debut's New York Groove, a radio staple. Frehley's Comet's '87 self-titled peaking at number 43. Tours grossing mid-6 figures yearly. Merch madness. Spaceman tees, guitar straps, sprinkled sparkle, while endorsements like Gibson signatures sweeten the pot. But black holes bit. Addictions drained millions in rehabs and lost gigs. A 2002 Kiss settlement souring shares. Legal tangles from DUIs and the 2006 arson fire that torched his house. Insurance fights left him lean. He rebounded wisely. Real estate flips in Jersey. A publishing deal for No Regrets in 2011. Streaming revivals padding the purse. No palicis. His Morristown pad was practical. A $500,000 haven with a garage of gear. Money funneled to Monique's dreams and family funds. At 74, that $1 million wasn't a crown but a coda, proof that wealth's worth is in the riffs it funds. The legacy it leaves echoing louder than any vault. And so, the final fade-out crashes in on October 16, 2025. Ace's cause of death, a brutal brain bleed from a late September fall in his Morristown home studio. Slipping mid-riff, hitting his head hard enough to cancel shows, landing him on life support as doctors fought the intracranial hemorrhage with no surrender. Whispers say it started minor, a doctor's note sidelining travel, but scans revealed the bleed's fury. Weeks of machines beeping in vain till family, heartbroken, chose peace over prolongation. At 74, on the eve of a tour that promised more spaceman magic, Ace's exit aches like an amp feedback forgotten. Simmons and Stanley devastated. Fans flooding arenas with purple lights and vigil. Monique's tattoo a final cosmic wink. This isn't goodbye. It's a guitar unplugged too soon. A call to cherish the chaos, to riff through our own falls. Ace Frehley's saga was a stellar storm. From Bronx basslines to Kiss constellations, family his faithful crew, lifestyle his wild warp, net worth his grounded glow. At 74, a fall's fatal echo scribes an elegy unfinished, beckoning us to solo louder, hold our band tighter. Jeanette, Monique, Charles, Nancy, they orbit his light now, their grief our galactic grief, summoning us to rock on in his name. Ace's riffs ring eternal in every kid's first chord, a legacy launching us skyward. If Ace's cosmic journey has cranked up your heart today, as it has mine, please subscribe for more rock and roll reveries that hit hard, and smash that like to send his spaceman signal farther. It's the encore he deserves. Thanks for riding this riff with me. Grab your axe, hug your crew, and let the music never end.